Hello everyone. Welcome to the new class of chemistry. In the previous class, we completed one chapter which was regarding the solutions. Today's class, from today onwards, we will discuss a new chapter, chapter number 4 actually, chemical kinetics. Chapter 3, electrochemistry, we will discuss when we have a face-to-face class in the school. At present, we will study the chemical kinetics. So, what is actually chemical kinetics? We we are well aware that some reaction process might take a longer time, and some reaction process might take a shorter time period. Like for example, rusting. Rusting actually takes some months for a metal to get rusted, but in the case of we can see some chemical reactions like putting uh, sodium hydroxide or any baking soda. Suppose we are putting a baking soda in an acid, then that reaction is actually taking very quickly. Similarly, some reactions take a medium average time. So how much time does a reaction takes, or what amount of the reactant has been used in the reaction, or at what rate or at what speed could the reaction might have undertaken, all these studies can be done under a topic by the name chemical kinetics. So chemical kinetics is nothing but a study of the reaction rate and also the mechanism, how the reaction occurred, what was its mechanism. All these things can comes under the chemical kinetics process. Chemical kinetics, actually it's a word. It's actually from a Greek word which means kinesis, and that kinesis means movement. Chemical kinetics is actually a Greek word which means movement, and this kinetics actually determine the speed of the chemical reaction, what speed the chemical reaction occurs, at what condition it has been taken place, what are the reaction rate, at what reaction rate has been changed. All these could be studied with the help of a chemical kinetics. So how can we understand the speed of a chemical reaction, or how can we understand the rate of a chemical reaction? The rate of chemical reaction can be defined by how much amount of reactant or product in a particular definite time has been changed. Means the reactant concentration or the product concentration in certain unit of time uh, has been changed for a while. So what amount of concentration of it has been changed, or what concentration of it has been used, can be determined for the speed of reaction. So let's see how it's done. So what is been done, just went, yes. So what is been done, suppose we are taking a reaction where a reactant gives a product, that is actually a reaction. Okay, so RB is the reactant and P is the product, that we know very well. What happens in the reaction is, when a reactant is given, it mixes together, or they mix together, or some reaction happens in that reactant, some hydrogen bonding breaks, or sometimes ionic bonding breaks, and by that process they actually start to disappear, right? And when they start to disappear, a product is formed, a new substance is formed, that is known as the product, right? So we will say that the rate of how much amount of reactant is being disappeared will be very much equal to the rate of how much product has been appeared, right? Because we know that by the law of conservation of mass, both side, the reactant and product will have equal amount of mass. Similarly, we can say with the concept of equilibrium, both side will have the same equilibrium. The reactant side as well as the product side will have a same equilibrium. So if we consider the decreasing concentration of reactant, the reactant will definitely decrease. So if we are taking a certain unit of time like T, then we can say for T1 time, the reactant 1, the means the one portion of reactant R1, and for T2 time, the one portion of reactant R2 will change into the product side. So what happens? A decrease will happen in the concentration side, and it will be a change. How it will be changing? It will be changing with the R2 minus R1 under a particular concentration. This square bracket actually shows the concentration, divided by, it will be taken in a particular time period, T2 minus T1, right? So R2 minus R1 is actually a change which can be represented as delta R. Delta is actually a change, and it will be of minus sign. Why? Because it is disappearing. If a substance is disappearing, then for the concentration side we have to show the minus sign. Divided by T2 minus T1 means delta T, change in time. Similarly, the product is also having the same condition. When the R1 when in the R2 reactant changes in the T2 time, at the same time a product starts to occur there. P1 product at T1 time and P2 product in a T2 time. Or we can rather say, when at the T1 time R1 product is converted, it will convert into P1 product, and in the meanwhile T2 time the R2 reactant converts into the P2 product. So we can say slowly and gradually, or very fastly, rapidly, the product concentration tries to increase. So we can write it as P2 minus P1 divided by T2 minus T1, right? P2 minus P1 is actually a concentration amount. T2 minus T1 is just a time. P2 minus P1 is actually occurring. There is no disappearance in this product. It is actually occurring. So we will mention it with a positive sign. And since there is a change there, we will show it with delta concentration of P divided by delta T. Both these equations, the minus delta R by T and delta P by T, both these equations are actually the average rate of reactions. Means average amount, such category, such amount will definitely occur. And that is actually now shown with the help of a graph which says that the average reaction always depend upon the concentration of reactant on product and the time taken. So let's see how the graph is being mentioned. So this is the graph that we have. We had said just now that the graph depends upon concentration of reactant or product. So we had made two different graphs, one for the concentration of product, one for the concentration of reactant with respect to the time, both of them with respect to the time. We know that reactant or the product, if we take a closer look, then for the product, let's discuss first about the reactant. Just a minute. If we discuss about the reactant, how the reactant occurs or how changes occurs in a reactant, we can say it could be occurring in the following process. At a T0 time or the 0th time, when no reaction occurred, when it was 0, at that time there was the complete reactant present there. Slowly and gradually, when time changed, T1 time occurred, T2 time occurred, slowly and gradually the reactant decreased, right? That has been shown by us just now. So the reactant continuously decreases, but it never goes to 0, because if the reactant goes to 0, it means no product will be occurred. So it will just decrease. Just as the time goes on, it will just decrease. So if we try to make a slope here, we will get a slope here. We will get the change in reactant, means we will get a small portion of this perpendicular side. It will be the corresponding to the reactant change, and from the base side we will get actually the time, change in time, right? So this is actually the instantaneous reaction that we will study in the next class. means in the smallest or the tiniest fraction how much reactant is being reacted, that is been shown here. If we are seeing the average reactant, average rate of reaction, we can say we can see it as average, means in the sense you can see there is a portion here. This portion actually shows the average rate of reaction. How? We have an R1 reactant at a T1 time and R2 reactant at a T2 time. If we consider both of them, the slope is actually going in the negative side, right? If this slope is going into the negative side, then definitely the reactant change will be also negative. That's why we had shown the in the equation as a reactant as negative. So as the reactant goes in the negative side, we will write it as negative delta concentration of R divided by delta T. So what is the concentration of R? We know change in reaction R2 minus R1, concentration of R2 minus R1 divided by the time change. What is the time change? T2 minus T1, T2 minus T1, right? And in the similar case, if we take the concentration of products, it will be the same, but the difference will be both of them will have what we can say, yes, both of them will have a different concentration for products. Means we can say the product is being just starting to occur from a zero time. It will start to occur and it will reach a maximum, then it will be a parallel to the time whatever it takes. So T1 time there is a P1 product and T2 time there will be a P2 product. Okay, a slope occurs there and that will be the instantaneous reaction. It's the tiniest in the tiniest time period what amount of reaction can be occurred. So we will discuss it later. We have a small portion of change in product. We can see that product has been changed from P1 to P2 and it is increasing slope. So we will take it as positive delta concentration of P divided by the change in time T2 and T1. Change in time will be taken as delta T. So how can we write delta P? P2 minus P1, which one is larger? P1, P2 is larger, so P2 minus P1 concentrations divided by the time T2 minus T1. So this is how we had came to the conclusion of process that both these concentration of products as well as the reaction occurs in the same amount, or the disappearance of or the decreasing concentration of reactant is always equal to the increasing concentration of product. Okay, that's all about today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.